Good evening. Hello. Hi. Decided to do something a little different. Actually, stream on a Saturday. I haven't done this before. Just to see how it goes. Looks like our friend Jewish McCaffrey is here already. Good evening, sir. Thank you for popping in. Appreciate you. We'll give it a few minutes just in case we have some other people who want to draft. Figure the crowd might be a little light tonight, with NBA All-Star game stuff going on. Also, it's a Saturday. So also, if you're here, you just don't have friends, so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I have done. How many have I done so far? I think I've done 35 dingers. 33. I'm at 33 dingers so far. Let's look at the exposures so far, just to start with. Trying to just be a little bit different than I was in the bullpen. My number one pitcher for the dinger. Well, actually, I need to filter by just the dinger. Sorry. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. That looks right. So my third highest owned pitcher, I guess tied for first, is a guy I drafted literally 0 times, I think, during the bullpen, and I don't really know why I did that, but okay. Sorry, I have to share this tab. There we go. There it is. Okay. John, hello, welcome in. John is new to the MLB best ball streets. What's optimal roster construction? How many players per position should you aim for, if any? It depends on. It's kind of a tough question to answer. Last year we saw 6s and 7s be optimal. So, whether it's 7 pitchers, 6 infielders, 7 outfielders, 6-7-7, whatever. That seemed to be the construction that advanced further over expectation. If you did some funky builds, like a 5-pitcher build or an 8-pitcher build or something like that, obviously they can work. People advance teams with those. They're just more, they're just less likely to advance than a team that's got like 7s and 6s. JMC was at 44 dingers yesterday afternoon. Now it's 70. Are you going to max? Because I mean, if you're going to max like that, that's fine. I've had to kind of slow down because I'm probably going to stop at like 100 dingers. So I've got 65-ish more, and I've done 170, I want to say, drafts so far across all of the contests with no information. So now that we're starting to get information, like Kyle Bradish's arm blew up. That's pain. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna wait, but I'm gonna slow down my dingers for sure. John so far has got so many 7-7-6s with late infield. That's kind of really worked last year. There's always an infielder. I do think that you want to make sure you get at least one, if not 2 anchor infielders. Now, what you define as an anchor infielder, like I don't necessarily think that has to be, a second or third round guy. Sorry, hairs on my nose or something. But you want to have a couple of anchors at least at each position, I think. Pitcher gets a little weird, but we'll talk through it as we draft a team here. And if you want to hop in with me, I'll definitely give you guys a countdown. There's a bit of a delay, so I'll try to time it right. But JMC is going to do 150 for sure. Total degen at heart. I can appreciate that. I figured you would. I flirted with the idea of maxing this year, but I think around 100-ish is going to be good. So here are my 33 dingers. Carlos Rodon, Dylan Cease, Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish is the guy that I did not draft a single time in the bullpen. I'm pretty sure I didn't draft him a single time in 115 drafts, and here he is in 9 out of my 33 teams. I don't really know why that is. I kind of don't mind that, though, like completely fading a dude and then kind of being in on him in a different contest. I kind of wanted to do that. Yu Darvish is, I think, 38 years old, but I think there's still some juice there, especially given that he's, the 45th pitcher off the board. I think that he can outperform quite a few of the guys ahead of him, but there's definitely some risk there. Grayson Rodriguez and Hunter. Grayson Rodriguez rounds out the 27.3% owned guys. Christian Javier is another guy who I didn't draft a single time in the bullpen that I've been drafting in the dinger. So there's the pitchers. Real quick, we'll cover the infield. Matt Chapman is egregiously cheap, and I'm just going to keep hammering him. I don't care where he signs. He should not be a 20th round pick. Then Rhys Hoskins, I can't stop clicking him. Still love him, even at his current ADP. So you can see the list here. I won't read all the names. Thairo Estrada has been one of my favorite last round targets since minute one. Well, I wouldn't say minute one, but about I don't know, a third of the way through my bullpen drafts. And I was like, oh yeah, Thairo Estrada's a guy. And then I started drafting him nonstop. And then our outfield, I can't stop clicking Mike Trout's name. I know the injury risk is there, but it's Mike Trout. I'm just hoping he stays healthy enough. I just feel like him in the second round, the late second round, sometimes at the turn in the second round is ridiculous. But people are afraid of his injury history. I don't blame him. Brandon Nimmo's nice and boring, but he's in a great spot. Chris Bryant, I'm counting on a bounce back season from for some reason. And you can see my highest owned first round pick so far is Fernando Tatis. So that's just the real quick. And Aaron Judge is here too, because I'm picking him over Soto almost every time. So let's go ahead and queue up a draft here. All right. So I'm going to click enter in 10 seconds. Counting them in. All right. Cool. We need 3 more. Great. That's not bad. So if you want to hop in, if you're here, if you haven't hopped in already, please do so. That would be great. I don't know if you guys have ever had this before, but this is one of my favorite beers. Weekender by Two Pitchers Brewing. Figured 2 guys who used to be pitchers making a beer and then me drinking it on stream kind of flowed with the whole baseball aesthetic. So, McCaffrey, I know since you're here, what do we have any of those kind of higher owned guys in common? You don't have to give away the secret sauce if you don't want to. I just figured I'd ask you since you're here. Hopefully you're still here. That Rodon number for me is the guy is so talented. Carlos Rodon is so unbelievably talented. He just can't stay on the field historically. His whole career, he's had trouble staying on the field. But that's kind of what I'm doing this year is I'm targeting these guys who, may have some injury history, but I don't care. I'm not here to, to not take risks. I'm here to win this thing. So I'm just going to draft the best guys that I can. And Carlos Rodon should not be the 26th pitcher off the board. Just flat out should not be. He could very easily be a top 10 pitcher by the end of this year. But huge, but he has to stay healthy. And that's been very, very difficult. So James C, high on Rodon, Trout, and also Estrada. That makes me feel good seeing someone who I think is very, very sharp in these rooms, being high on those guys. It's, I'm not ignoring the injury thing with everybody. I'm not drafting Byron Buxton because we've seen this show for 7 years now with him. And I don't think it's ever going to happen for him. I'm still worried about fading him. And JMC, I just started talking. He's got a dumb amount of Buxton. But I think for a postseason prize only contest, I'm willing to end up with egg on my face for the playoff upside. And that is absolutely, absolutely a great line of thought and a great way to draft. Truly. Yeah, you'd be very hard pressed to show me a team that, as long as it's not like, a 10-5-5 or something build, you'd be pretty hard pressed to show me a team where I'm like, I just rip it to shreds. I'm like, oh, that team's trash. I think as long as you have a goal for that specific team as you're going through the draft, as long as you can justify how it's built, it's feasible to me, truly. Because if you're playing for a specific set of circumstances and you construct your team in a way that if that specific set of circumstances occurs, then you accomplish the mission. So I wouldn't say there are bad teams necessarily, a ton of bad teams out there. It's just having the reasoning behind how you're structuring these teams, I think it's as important as the actual guys. Blenderhead says it all the time during DFS season. We're not picking players, we're building lineups. I'm paraphrasing him. That may not be the exact quote, but that's what we're doing here too. You are constructing a 20-person team. You're not just clicking on guys just to click on guys. If you're doing it that way, I think you're doing it wrong. Not every single pick has to be like this horribly thought out thing. Sometimes you just play the best plays. Like if I was on stream last time, I think Trevor Story or somebody fell like 30 spots behind ADP where we can't get him anymore. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take him here. May not have necessarily fit with that team, but sometimes you just play the best plays. Eovaldi's one of JMC's higher owned pitchers so far, just for how cheap he is. Yeah, I'm a little worried by how little exposure I have to him. Like I don't love Nathan Eovaldi, and I don't really think that he's a guy who can just completely and totally burn me, but he is too cheap for sure. And especially when you get late into the draft. I mean, he's going off at 177. So if we look at the pitchers in that 177 range, he's among Brandon Pfaadt, Reed Detmers, Braxton Garrett, whose shoulder is sore, Brian Bayo, who can't strike anybody out, Gavin Williams, who's young and probably okay, but we kind of don't know. Yusei Kikuchi's sometimes completely terrible. Lance Lynn loves home runs. Nick Lodolo's hurt. Mackenzie Gore hasn't lived up to the hype. So he's among all these dudes with a lot of question marks, I think. And he's just going to kind of go out there and throw his innings, strike out roughly a guy per inning, and then, be fine. So I probably need to try getting more Eovaldi on my teams. But the way that I've been building primarily, I'm kind of not done with pitcher, but I should be at the point with pitcher where I only need maybe one or two guys at the end here. I have been doing some kind of weird builds lately, like 8 and 9 pitcher builds. I haven't done too many 9s. I just did one in the bunt because that draft one was ridiculous. I had a dude with a 13, what was it? 13-4-3 build in that bunt draft, and another guy had like 2 pitchers and a ton of it. It was ridiculous. So that draft's gonna get canceled. But figuring in a room like that, why not try 9 pitchers? But most of my builds are 6 and 7 pitchers. If I commit a decent amount of draft capital to pitching early, I'll usually back off, and go 6 pitchers. JMC asking, are you buying into please show it, there we go, into the Manoah bounce back? I've been thinking about him and talking about him since, well, not talking about him necessarily, but since draft season started. He is the guy who is like way down here, you know, an 18th, 19th, 20 round pick. He is the pitcher who's down here who could absolutely nuke you if you don't have him. So I've started getting him a little bit. I'm probably going to still be under the field on him, so I'll be under 8%. But I'm going to have him on a few teams just in case. Because this 2022 he had was absolutely incredible. And I can't remember a time when we saw a guy do this, have this 2022 season, and then with no injury, come out the next year and just be an absolute dumpster fire. I can't remember that happening. I'm sure it has, but nothing is like coming to mind. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like buying into the Alek Manoah is back thing, but I do want to get some exposure to him just in case he is actually back. I don't think that there are people out here with like 30% Alek Manoah. So I don't necessarily think that like he's a guy who's, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's somebody in the field that's going to have a ton of him for some reason, but I don't think we're going to see him on many lineups in the playoffs. I feel like if you're taking that big of a gamble on Alek Manoah in your pitching staff, you've either got 5 studs and you're putting him as your 6th just to say, all right, if he bounces back, great. If not, I have a 5 pitcher staff. Or he's part of like an 8 pitcher build where you've just completely ignored pitching and you need something from him. That's where he's viable to me. John's got so much Mitch Keller and Merrill Kelly. He loves tapping them in the early 100s. I have 0 Merrill Kelly. I will probably continue to do so. My reasoning is stupid. It's mostly spite because he just absolutely dunked on my face last year in the playoffs. I mean, it seemed like every pod I was in had, 2 or 3 Merrill Kelly teams, and he's just out here being Greg Maddux. It was horribly frustrating. I don't know. His skill set, his lack of velocity, and how well he was striking people out, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like it is almost like Greg Maddux kind of. He's not Greg Maddux. I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying he doesn't really throw that hard, but he still strikes people out. So we're gonna go ahead and increase my Fernando Tatis ownership and take him 9th. Our friend James C is right behind me. He goes Yordan Alvarez. John, are you in here? Are you in this draft, my friend? Don't recognize. I think Wild Bill was on the Dark Sheep stream last night. He was one of the teams in Dark Sheeps and Bubba. If you haven't, John, if you're new to best ball, MLB best ball, if you haven't checked out, Badge Bros or Dark Sheep, make sure you check them out. Their YouTube channels. These Badge Bros are pretty easy to find. Dark Sheep is D4RKSH33P_. You can find him there on X and Twitter. But he does stacking dingers with Brendan Tuma, who works for Underdog. Chris, Baseball, B3ISBOL. They do some great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and go Tatis Harper to start here. Bryce Harper is interesting. I wonder what his ADP would be if he was an outfielder. JMC, what do you think, man? If Bryce Harper had the outfield designation, where would he be going? I think that's an interesting exercise. No worries, John. I appreciate you stopping in, man, for real. I love interacting with y'all and talking through this stuff. And then you've listened, their Substack has good info. Yeah, it really does. They've got great info. So yeah, I think this Wild Bill dude was in there before. JMC start Jordan Schwarber. Makes sense. That's a good start. Yeah, I think Harper would be top 7, top 8 maybe if he had the outfield designation. So because of that positional scarcity, you're getting him maybe like half a round later than you probably otherwise would be. I could be wrong. I'm not great about like guessing where ADPs would be, but um, he feels like a pretty safe click. Pointing up the board. Spencer Strider goes 8th. That's interesting. I've been getting to Strider quite a bit actually, because he keeps falling to like the 17, 18, 19 range in some of my drafts. And I'll take Strider there all day, especially since it doesn't happen all that often. I'm probably going to have like 0 Garrett Cole this year. It's just the spending this draft capital when you've got, he's around Harper and Riley and, all these dudes. I don't know if I'll have much of him. I know earlier in draft season, I was doing the thing at the end of drafts where I was double tapping Strider and Cole, like 12, 13. JMC thinks Harper would be right after Tatis if outfield. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. That's what I would think too. Let's see. AG Pennypacker got one of my favorite combinations in the draft, and that's Judge and Trout. I mean, good God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if both of those guys stay healthy this year and like for the duration of the contest? Like you get to the first or second round of the playoffs and you roll in there with an Aaron Judge, Mike Trout combination. Like, holy crap. That is wow. That's something else. So I think my draft is doing this thing again where I only have 20 seconds to draft. I forgot to screw with my clock settings. We'll see if that bugs me or not. JMC agrees with the Cole thing. Yeah, I look if he falls to like 23 or 24, you compare him with like an Acuna or something. I'm down for that, but I'm not taking him in the teens. I'm not taking him before I take Mike Trout. Definitely not Riley and Harper and Witt, all these guys. So it's just it's not a fade of the player, it's a fade of the construction that it forces you into if you pick that player. So KZUL P15 goes Ozzy Albies at 30. That's decently ahead of ADP. Oh, actually, Albies is climbing though, I guess, isn't he? But he's got a nice little stack here with Riley and Albies and Mookie. I like that. We are gonna take an outfielder for sure coming up. I'm kind of full fading Corbin Burns too for the same reason. JMC. It feels unnecessary. So we've got Tatis, Harper. I'm gonna go ahead and click Nolan Jones. I don't have a ton of him this year. I have a hard time buying into, guys in their second year who had like a decent, rookie year or like a flash in the rookie year. Nolan Jones' price is pretty absurd, but if he's for real, he might return like top 20, top 15 value given his position, as an outfielder. This last year he put up 1,200, right? 1042, sorry. But, a 2020 guy batting in Coors, filling a scarce position like outfield. I really did fiddle with the thought of taking Corbin Burns there at that discount. So I'm glad to see you got him, JMC. I think that was a very solid pick. And now I think, let's see here. I think I'm going to take my first pitcher. Um, I'm going to go with Zach Gallen just because I don't have much of him. And I think this dude's for real. I'm not paying this price for Yamamoto. The Dodgers staff in general is concerning because I mean they could go with a 5.5 man rotation or a 6 man rotation, and that's going to dramatically reduce your odds of getting a 2 start week. If they arrange things just right, like around the All-Star break, you may have a dude who just doesn't pitch for like a week and a half or two. So paying a premium price, like a 38 ADP for Yamamoto, just doesn't feel good to me. Um, he has to probably hit a near ceiling outcome in order to pay that price off. James, he's saying seems like Burns ADP is going to keep getting earlier. Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think where you just got him, it's probably going to be, save for like one or two like weird drafts. I think you got a very, very nice discount on him. In hindsight, I probably should have just done it since I don't have any of him. Like I should have just built this team a little bit differently, but I also don't have much Nolan Jones. I just kind of opted for that route. Let's pull up the board. See if we have any funky builds. Not really. Our 7-hole guy. He's really swinging for the fences here. Garrett Cole 18, Ellie De La Cruz at 31. I'm out. I'm out on Ellie at that price. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Aren't you worried? Yeah, I am. I'm very worried that he is the truth and I have none of him. But I'm not clicking his name over more known quantities. He's going before Francisco Lindor and Jose Altuve, and then we've got, this run of outfielders, excuse me, around him. These bona fide aces around him too. I cannot click Ellie De La Cruz's name. I have a couple times. When I say I can't click his name, it doesn't mean I never will. But I think I've drafted him twice all year. So just staying away. I don't know. I pulled off earlier today in a bunt. I pulled off like the dream scenario of when a plan goes correct. I had Corbin Carroll fall to me at 10, I think it was. And then I pulled off, an Arizona stack with a Milwaukee stack and yada, yada. I might show you guys that team because I think that one's pretty dangerous. JMC had some young a few weeks ago. Thoughts on what his ADP should be with the injury now. It seems like he's just going to take a couple of weeks off and then like resume normal activity. So if that happens, I don't think he misses any time, right? You can start 2 weeks late in spring training and still make opening day just fine. But like calf injuries and stuff, I don't know. They just kind of, maybe I'm wrong, but just anecdotally, it just kind of seems like they just linger. They're just there and take longer than you would want for them to go away. I like Josh Young. I don't have too much of him just because he's going in a range where I'd rather get some other stuff. But if he starts to fall, if he falls, 10, 15 spots because of this, like I would want to take advantage of him there. But if he's only gonna like need to rest it for a couple weeks and then he's fine, his ADP shouldn't drop. But people will react to the news, of course. Okay, we are coming up one pick away, and I'm gonna be. Oh man, I have to take the Bo Bichette discount, don't I? You're not gonna get Bo Bichette at 57. I had to do that. I've virtually avoided Toronto players. Just again, it's not a fate of the players or the team. It's just where they're going. There's other stuff around them that I would rather have. But getting Bo Bichette at 57, I really wanted to click Brandon Nemo's name there, but I have enough Brandon Nemo, so let's go ahead and build something a little bit different. So, so far we're through 5 picks. Zach Gallen is the one pitcher, and then at infield, Bryce Harper and Bo Bichette, and then outfield, I've got Tatis and Nolan Jones. So this is a start that I really like. I like building teams like this. See what James he's going to do here. I could go one of two ways on this. I don't think drafting an infielder is wise, so I need either a pitcher or an outfielder. Okay. Thinking through this. Constructing this team going Tatis and Jones. In order for Jones to pass this, to pay off this price, he needs to be the guy, right? He needs to be legit. So when building this team, operating under the assumption that he is going to be that guy for this team, I'm going to go ahead and take another ace with Blake Snell here. For this build to work, I need Tatis and I need Jones to hit their near ceiling outcomes that I think that they can. JMC is sighing. Did I ruin your life by taking Bo Bichette there? Were you going to grab him if I didn't? I mean, I had to, right? Like getting him at 57 is kind of crazy. That doesn't happen. Yeah, I think going with the pitcher there for this particular team was the right move, because if Nolan Jones fails, right? If he doesn't, if he puts up 1,100 points or whatever at a 34 ADP, if he fails, he doesn't pay off that price by a good margin, and he's going to drag the whole team down, right? But drafting him at that price, I'm saying for this team, he's going to succeed. He's going to smash. And so is Tatis. And if that is true and they both smash, I don't need an outfielder right now. Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully that's a smart way of thinking about it. But if I'm stupid, you let me know. And yeah, I agree. I had to pick him there. I think I've only drafted Bo like 3, 4, maybe 5 times. But yeah, that was a spot where his name has to be clicked. Try to look for any kind of weird builds out of the ordinary. BJ Steele has an interesting build here, going Freeman, Witt, and then Michael Harris, and then 3 straight pitchers. He's going to be chasing outfield, though, if he doesn't get on it. Knowing what's going on in your draft room, too, John, if you're still here, being new to MLB best ball, if you're like experienced in any other like NFL or whatever, you probably already know this, but just be very in tune with what the teams around you are doing, especially if you're like at the very beginning or the very end of a draft, like bookending it, paying attention to the guys right around you so you know kind of what you may need to double tap, or like if you're 10th, like Jewish McCaffrey is, pay attention to what the guys ahead of you have. So JMC, I get that. Probably should have taken Machado, but a really hard time passing on Kirby past ADP. Where did you get Kirby? 63. Where is he going? I actually don't know because I'm not. Yeah, a little bit past. Look, George Kirby is going to be a really good real life pitcher. Okay. I don't understand why he's going ahead of guys with massive strikeout upside like Dylan Cease, Blake Snell. Who else is in that range? Aaron Nola, Freddie Peralta, Logan Webb. Like, if I wanted someone with George Kirby's profile, I would just pick Logan Webb. So, in order for Kirby to pay off that price for me, how I like to draft, he has to increase that strikeout rate. And he has to do it, I think, relatively substantially. I'm going to go ahead and. Ooh. Do I take the Evan Carter dip? Let's do it. Let's do some weird stuff. I'm drafting guys I haven't drafted all draft season. Evan Carter, 14 picks past ADP right now. You can't get him in the 80s anymore. I don't really love Evan Carter because I don't know if he can hit lefties. And I have no interest in, spending a 6th round pick on a guy who could very well find himself like quickly in a platoon situation. But he's one of the best prospects in baseball. He's going to be on the major league roster. He should play every day. And if he does, he's going to be just fine. And I think, wasn't he batting 3rd in the World Series? I feel, JMC, I feel like you and I are kind of just like, all right, well, this guy is, 15 picks past ADP. Might as well click his name. I don't have any of them, so might as well take him now. I feel like we're doing the same thing there. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm worried about Evan Carter being able to pay off this price. But again, just one of those kind of discounts that you don't really ever see. So probably should just take advantage of it when it happens. And I'm going to go ahead and double tap outfield here. I'm going to go ahead and go with some Riley Green. I have a lot of him in the bullpen, and I haven't been drafting him much in the dinger. I think it's just because I'm trying to do some different stuff, but I mean, this was like the prospect a couple years ago, and had a little trouble staying healthy. Hopefully, he puts together a full year, but he's going to be batting in an offense that I think is going to be better than a lot of people think, like a lot of casual fans. I think the Tigers are going to be kind of dangerous, and if they can get anything out of Javier Baez, that'll make them much more difficult to face. I don't know if they'll get anything out of Javier Baez because he sucks, but he's talented, so he could suddenly not suck, but he sucks. So we have kind of an interesting build forming here with our 6-hole guy. He has yet to take a pitcher. And I like keeping track of builds like that, just kind of seeing how they turn out. It's a very viable way to build. I know there's a few guys in the MLB best ball streets who are preaching about 0 pitcher. I don't like the 0 pitcher strategy. I don't like leaning into it. I like doing it on occasion, but I feel like you've got to have at least 1 or 2 hammers, aces to get you there. Have you done any of the eliminators yet? I've done 1. I did 1. I'm just going to do the little eliminator. I might do like 10, just for fun. That contest is kind of a mind F because I don't think you can play it. Well, I mean, you can, but I don't know that playing it in the same way that you would play the dinger. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I feel like you want some more floor guys in that particular contest than you do in the dinger. I'm obviously I could be wrong about that, but I'll do a few. I'll do a few of them. I'm trying to dedicate my bankroll this year to just the season long contest. You know, they'll launch the end season contest, I'm sure. And I might dabble in that one a little bit, but most of the lion's share of my action is going to be in these full season long things. And I'm really, really hoping I can duplicate my advance rate from last year. It was really annoying. I feel like I had, so out of my 77 dingers last year, I got 6 through the third round. And then I had 4 more, 2 in the 7 inning stretch, and then 2 in the bullpen that were in the third round. So 10 teams in the third round last year, and not a single one of them got to the finals. It was just mega sad for me. Haven't done any. Yeah. For the eliminator, I think that you could roll in there and just like use the same exact principles that you use for this contest. Like, you'll be fine. I like, my initial thought was these floor guys that I have virtually no interest in drafting. So like Stephen Kwan, like Luis Ariz, like these guys, I think that they are much more viable in that format than they are in this one. Not that they're not viable in this format. I don't like guys who don't really have spike week potential. So I don't know. One pick before we're on the clock. I feel like this team probably, you know what? Let's make Brad proud. I'm gonna take Wyatt Langford. And I'm gonna stack him with Evan Carter. We're gonna go with the Rangers youth movement. That's what this draft is gonna be. Minus Josh Young. I'm not gonna take him with his bum ass calf right now. Not right now. This range of pitcher was one of my favorites. Now, I was hammering this range. I love Musgrove. I think Bieber is washed, but then he's like throwing harder now, and I'm very worried because I have 0 of him. Rip, Kyle Bradish, and then Yuri Perez is apparently going to be on some sort of innings restriction. I don't think it'll be like a heavy innings restriction. I think it would be stupid for them to be like, oh, you can only throw 140. I would bet around 160 would be his innings limit. So I don't know. Basically, he wouldn't pitch the last month, which is fine for this contest. Let's go ahead and like finish outfield. Just gonna take James Outman here. This is a lot of draft capital to allocate to outfield early. I don't necessarily love doing this, but I feel like I've got 2 huge question marks in this outfield right now. And, you know, Evan Carter, if he's gets stuck in a platoon, he's a wasted pick here. And then, I mean, we don't even know if Wyatt Langford's going to break with the team. I think the line of thinking is he probably will, but then like, is he going to play every day? Is he going to be stuck in a platoon with somebody? I don't know. I have no idea. So with this particular build, I'm kind of trying to insulate myself from playing time questions for these guys throughout the season and just hoping these 2, Riley Green and James Outman, step up. I'm probably going to turn, not probably, I'm going to turn outfield off. It's going to, well, let me keep it up just in case. It's going to take a pretty wild discount on somebody that I really like for me to draft another outfielder, I think. Let's recap the team real quick in case you happen to listen to this and don't watch it. We are through 10 rounds, and I started in the 9 hole. So far, the team is Zach Gallen and Blake Snell at pitcher, Bryce Harper and Bo Bichette, who I took 13 picks after ADP in infield. And then the outfield is probably done. But Tatis, Nolan Jones, Evan Carter, Riley Green, Wyatt Langford, and James Outman. That's where we're at so far. JMC, how much? Again, you don't have to give away the secret sauce, but just curious, how much Kyle Bradish did you have? Do you have? And I assume you're not drafting him anymore if you were drafting him. Let's see. Our guy. Oh, he finally took a pitcher. Mitch Keller was this guy's first pitcher. Okay. Wouldn't be my anchor, but I see it. I get it. Tyler O'Neill at 121. Yeah, that's wow. He's doing some reaching here to fill out his infield. He was doing a lot of reaching yesterday on Dark Sheep stream too, if I'm remembering correctly. 4 out of 38 shares pre-injury. Yeah. Well, congratulations, man. Dodged a bullet there. He was I had him at, I think it was almost 25% across all contests, bullpen, everything. So that one hurt. He just felt like such a potential value smash. Yeah, that one hurts. The pitcher injuries are just devastating. They can really ruin an evening. We need to start filling out. I need to start filling out pitcher and infield here. Kyle Bradish goes at 127, probably auto drafted. I can't tell because my clock is all messed up. I'm gonna take Yuri Perez. I'm not gonna let the innings restriction totally scare me off of him. He's fell 16 spots, so almost a round and a half out of his normal ADP range. I'm willing to go ahead and take the gamble on him right now. And truly, there's not many infielders that are left right now in this range that I particularly like. I'm probably not going to have any Jackson Holiday. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think I need to see him in spring and see if he has any power. I don't know if he does. I'm usually not in love with prospects. Like, I'm like the best ball drafting version of the bat. I just don't like these prospects a lot of times because a lot of them fail. Every once in a while, we'll have one that really succeeds, and then once in a generation, we'll have Corbin Carroll do what he did. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and take. Let's see. Oh, you took Barrios. Okay. Well, you made my decision for me. Thanks, JMC. I'm gonna take Tanner Bibby, who he got some Rookie of the Year votes last year, didn't he? He just, I don't know. He's a good young pitcher. I can't spell his name correctly. There we go. About a strikeout per inning. Had a great rookie season. That the Guardians organization, man, they just churn out pitchers. That's just what they do. I feel like a guy like him. There's a lot of guys in this range. Well, not a lot. There's a few guys in this range who are very similar. Where are we at? Sorry, I got to go back. Okay, I guess there's not a few. Barrios and Bibby are very similar in my view. Barrios is, more experience, but they're both around like strikeout per inning guys. They should have good ratios. I do have quite a bit of Barrios. I'm trying to get a little bit more Bibby. You probably will not see me click on Jordan Montgomery's name. I don't have interest in a guy with strikeout ratios like this. My pitching pool is pretty much strikeout per inning or more guys. Rarely will I take guys who are going to be, who are going to have 30 more innings pitched than they are going to have strikeouts. Do I bet on any future markets? I have not, but I think that that's something that I would like to do at some point. So, you know what I'll do just to kind of here, I'll pull up the board and I'm going to look on DK's Sportsbook real quick and try to fill the airtime so I'm not just like looking at my phone. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys don't want to just sit here and watch me look at my phone, right? I mean, if that's what you want, if that's the type of stream that you want, like let me know and I'll just sit here and I'll just look at my phone all night, This is for you, okay? It's actually for me. This is fun for me. Good Lord, I haven't been in this app in forever. There we go. MLB futures. Okay. World Series winners. Do you want to look at MLB Cy Young, etc.? Had a ton on Young Ale Rookie of the Year, 18-1. Oh, dude, that's brutal. He was definitely on track to take that down for you. That sucks. Who won Rookie of the Year last year in the AL? It's gonna be a super obvious name, isn't it? That my brain's just not working. Was it Gunnar? Was it Gunnar Henderson? I don't remember. No. Yeah, okay, it was Gunnar. Hey, look at that! I got it right. Regular season wins, make playoffs, best record on more MLB futures. There's a lot here. Student elimination, player totals. Awards. There we go. Hi-oh. All right. National League MVP for 2024. Ronald Acuna is the front runner at 550. I don't know. I feel like I'm really in on Tatis bouncing back this year. Like, I really think that he could be a problem this year. I don't really like his MVP odds though. He's the fourth favorite, tied with Bryce Harper. I don't know that I love that. Real quick, I got to make a pick here, and it's going to be Vinny Pasquantino. So let's move on. That was easy. MVP. William Contreras is at plus 4,000. If you enjoy lighting money on fire, you can do that. I love William Contreras this year for best ball, but MVP at plus 4,000, that's bananas. Wilson Contreras has the same odds as Christian Yelich. This is wild. Yeah, I don't bet on sports that often. I would like to look more at the futures market. I don't know enough about navigating this app and sifting through the stuff to give you anything that's valuable or entertaining. But thank you for bringing that up, JMC, because I definitely could look for that. 3-man race at the All-Star break. Those two and Yoshida. Yeah, that's right. Yoshida was definitely up there too. Let's circle back and chat closer to. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do a little bit of looking, a little bit of digging, and maybe on next stream or something, which will be, I don't know, midweek next week probably. Excuse me, we can throw some stuff out. Just kind of see where you're at and what we think some values could be. I don't really know what to do here. see what you do. Got this clock thing, so I gotta wait. So annoying. 17 seconds. Ick. I had an absurd. Oh, you don't have to apologize, man. I'm on your clock here. I'm not gonna get upset with you for taking your time. Um I had so much Christian Javier last year, and he just he stuck a fork in my eye over and over again last year. You know, those little like wooden forks that you use to like get olives out of jars. It was one of those. He just kept jabbing me right in the eyeballs. That's how miserable it was having him on 20+% of my best ball teams last year. But it appeared at the very end of last year, he started to figure something out. And I can't imagine the degree of tilt I'm going to experience if I find myself at the end of this year with none of him, and he has the year I was hoping he would have last year. So being a year early on that guy and missing his actual breakout would infuriate me. So, having said that, I am buying into maybe he did figure something out. And if he did figure something out, a price around 160, 150-ish is perfectly reasonable for a guy with his potential skill set. So I don't know where you're at, if you have any thoughts on Christian Javier, JMC, but I don't think I drafted him a single time in the bullpen. So, I said from the beginning when I decided I was going to really be a volume drafter this year, whatever that means. But for me, I'm going to wind up doing about 250 drafts this year, maybe a little more. So when I started doing the bullpen, I kind of was like, all right, I'm going to do the bullpen like this. And then when I get to the dinger, I might do some different stuff in that contest. So I view the Christian Javier thing and the Yu Darvish thing for me, where I had none of them in the bullpen contest, going to get some of them here so that kind of just in case I was completely wrong, my bullpen teams are, maybe struggling, but some of my dinger teams are good. Or if I'm wrong in the dinger, then that means my bullpen teams are kind of fine. So it's almost like a diversification across contests. I don't know if that's a smart thing to do, but it just, I don't know, feels right to me. It's got upside. You have a decent amount, but the drop off in Ks is kind of crazy. It really, excuse me, choking on my own spit. It really was wild. Like the difference in him between the 2022 season and the 2023 season. He struck out almost 200 guys in 140 innings. Yeah, 194 strikeouts and 148 innings. That's insane. And then he's like 1.5 strikeouts per inning. Well, not 1.5, not quite, but 1.3 strikeouts per inning, and then less than a strikeout per inning in 2023. So without an injury. So it was definitely something mechanical or I don't know, tipping pitches. I don't know. Something funky happened with him. And I'm just hoping he figures it out. Because like I said, I can't be a year early on him with how in on him I was last year. That would just be so mind-numbingly irritating. All right. We've got a 5-3-6 build. I don't think I need a pitcher. I'm going to take a guy who's still too cheap. Isaac Paredes is still too cheap. I can't believe we're still getting him at almost 180. The projection systems don't really like him. The bat doesn't really like him. I think who was it? I think it was the Bad Bro was talking about it. Somebody was talking. It was either them or Dark Sheep, but talking about their thoughts on why the bat doesn't like him, and his exit velocity isn't great. But the dude just pulls the ball and he hits it in the air, and his spray chart is legitimately hilarious. All of his home runs are like on his pull side, but I think the Rays are crazy if they don't play him every day. I mean, the guy has 35 plus home run upside, I think. So the reason I think that is because last year he hit 31 and he wasn't a full-time player for a decent chunk of the season. We're going to take another guy with a bunch of power, and that's Nolan Gorman. I've been getting to Nolan Gorman quite a bit this year. Another guy who unfortunately has had trouble staying healthy, but he's still really young and he has a ton of power. And he fits the archetype of players that I like to draft in this contest. And especially as we get later into the draft, I want those spiky guys. I want those spike week type guys. So when I look at my team, excuse me, I've got a 5-5-6 build right now. So my 5 pitchers are Gallen, Snell, Yuri Perez, Tanner Bibby, and Christian Javier. I'm probably going to make this a 6-pitcher team. Maybe. Infield, Bryce Harper, Bo Bichette, Vinny Pasquantino, Isaac Paredes, and Nolan Gorman. And then the outfield is Tatis, Nolan Jones, Evan Carter, Riley Green, Wyatt Langford, and James Outman. Because of the concerns I have about these 2 Texas guys, I might take a 7th outfielder on this team just to make sure I'm not going to be carrying zeros that often, because Evan Carter's going to play a lot, but if he's in a platoon, you can't draft him at ADP 70. I think spring is really going to illuminate how these guys are going to be used, and their ADPs are definitely going to swing. James C., I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge this. You didn't do any bullpens. Okay. I like that contest because, it's a lower price point and it's a way to kind of, especially if you're new to MLB best ball, it's kind of a way to just dip your toe in the water and kind of see how it all plays out. It was the first contest I did last year and I didn't do very well in it. But that was the first MLB best ball contest I had ever done. And I just don't think I understood. I didn't understand really how this worked until the tail end of bullpen drafts and then into the dinger, because my advance rates between the 2 contests were night and day. And I don't think that was a player take thing. I just think that was understanding how this game works and how the teams should be drafted type of thing. It's possible I just got super damn lucky too. I don't know, but I skipped one. Sorry. It was more just me being too preoccupied with other sports. Yeah, I know you're very active in the football streets. And I can't imagine drafting an NFL team the week after the Super Bowl ends. That's crazy to me. I get it, man. People love football. They love those contests, and more power to you if you are drafting those contests this early. I just can't do it. Let's do. I'm gonna do an accumulator, just kind of a guy who's just gonna get you 1,100 to 1,200 points every season, and that's Ryan McMahon. Another reason why I'm picking him is because if you'll move, there we go. He stacks with Nolan Jones. So I don't have much stacking going on in this lineup, and that's fine. I don't feel the need to stack in every single lineup, but I've got 2 minis. I've got Nolan Jones and Ryan McMahon, and then I've got these 2 Texas guys. I may fit in another stacking partner with one of these teams. Oh, I have it. I have it. I'm gonna keep it to myself. I figured it out. Just NBA for now. We'll circle back to NFL when it gets closer to BBM 5 being released. Do you max BBMs? Best Ball Manias? I assume you do. And how did your BBM season go this year, if you don't mind my asking? You don't have to answer the question, but just curious. What do I want to do now? I think I got it. I'll take kind of a risky pick here with Nick Lodolo. I like his. Good Lord, I cannot type tonight. There we go. As we can see from his last couple seasons, he definitely has strikeout potential. So he thanks JMC. Matt Chapman, there he goes. The cover boy on tonight's little thumbnail that I put together. It looks like a 10-year-old did it, but whatever. Dude, Matt Chapman, I don't understand it. I don't understand why he's going this late. His ADP is going to rise. It doesn't matter who he signs with. His ADP is going to rise. If he winds up in Chicago, we're partying. In the streets, we are partying because that would be a beautiful landing spot. If he goes to Chicago, I bet, and again, disclaimer, I don't really think I'm the best like ADP prognosticator out there, but I bet if he goes to the Cubs, we see him getting drafted by the end of draft season in like the 15th round. Maybe a little higher, maybe. I don't know. I'm not very good at predicting where guys are going to go. But the point is, he's free right now. And if you use the BAT or ATC or whatever, these projection systems, he is one of the best values on the entire board. So the projections say it. My eyes say it. I think his price is kind of ridiculous. But we'll keep taking advantage of it. And cross our fingers and hope that he doesn't get hurt. All right, going to max BBM 5, had a decent reg season for BBM 4, no luck with advancing to finals. So, I mean, man, you can do any strategy in the book. You can whatever. You can do anything. Getting to the finals in these contests it's so difficult. So unbelievably absurd. There's pod luck involved. And, NFL is like, I think, especially brutal because it's just one game. It's just that 1 week. That's it. With baseball, at least, like, I can deal with a bad 2-week run for my team. It's like, all right, you know what? That happens. But, like, the brutality of NFL being one game is it's fascinating. It truly is. Every free agent's ADP will rise. If nothing else, they become a stacking partner. Yeah, absolutely. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't picking Matt Chapman thinking he's a stacking partner for various teams. He's been linked to Seattle a little bit. He's been linked to San Francisco, I think. And the Cubs. Yay. So I have him stacked with, if I'm stacking him, I'm usually doing it with Cubs. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to be batting in front of Chris Morel or something, God, I hope he goes to the Cubs. That would be so great. Ugh. All right. We currently have the Devils number as our build. I am going to take Nelson Velasquez as my 7th outfielder. I virtually ignored him and then started hearing and seeing that he hits the ball extremely hard. And this team, he stacks with Vinny Pasquantino. So I got a little Kansas City mini here. I like that as my last outfield pick. That feels good. That dude, like, his range of outcomes, I think, it's very, very wide. Like, he could have just had a good run last year, and he could just be completely terrible, and then just like not in the majors. Or people are out there saying he's got like 40 home run power. So anything in between those two things can happen. But for this particular team, it's like let's bet on him hitting a ceiling, or at least near a ceiling. What do we need for infield? I'm just gonna do this again. I'm gonna take Brandon Lau. He's another guy. I don't understand why he's so okay. Let me backtrack that a little bit. I get why he's down here because there's definitely playing time concerns with Brandon Lau and health concerns. So I get it, but I would like to remind everyone. Oh, it's not on here anymore. 2021, he hit 39. I think it was 39 home runs. And he did some damage last year in limited playing time. It's kind of funny. I don't know if this is a pun or not. Back at full strength. Like, is his back full strength or is he back at full strength because he was having back issues? And this is exactly why I picked him, JMC. He has no floor. Yeah, his floor is he sneezes and he hurts his back again and he's out for 3.5 months. Like that's his floor, right? But God, if this guy can stay on the field, he's got pop, he can hit home runs. And at the very end of drafts with my infield, I'm either looking for a guy who has surprising power, like Brandon Lau has a ton of power. Francisco Alvarez is a guy I target sometimes. I think Brandon Drury has 30 home run upside in his bat. He's going to play every day. If you want to get kind of crazy, you can do some Sean Murphy. I don't really love it though. But like, I'm trying to target either guys who can really hit the ball out of the ballpark. Ryan Noda. I don't know if he has a ton of power, but this kind of archetype of guys I'm looking at the end of drafts. Ty France is at drive line, so maybe he becomes like a 25, 30 home run guy. I don't know, like just pipe dream, right? Let's go back to that team real quick. Wow, Edouard Julien went undrafted in this draft. Yikes! How did I miss him? Was I scrolled down already? No, I'm stupid. Because Brandon Lau is still here. Am I dumb? Am I dumb, guys? Am I looking at the wrong team? Yeah, I am looking at the wrong team. I'm an idiot. Okay. Hold on. Please hold. Try this again. Wait a minute. Hold on. We're in shambles. Okay. We need to refresh. Aha. There we go. Okay. Sorry. We got it. Anyway, archetype of guys. Okay, Julian went 205. Thank you. Those boppers at the end of the draft, or I'm looking for accumulators. Like I don't have much Jeff McNeil, but he's one of those guys who's an accumulator. My favorite, like, late round pick, I've already showed you. He went in this draft. Let's see where he went. Oh, right before Brandon Lau, Tyro Estrada. There he goes. Oh, you took him, you cheeky little minx. You look at you with the Matt Chapman, Alec Manoah, Tyro Estrada. I like that. Let's all right. JMC. exercise for you. Grade my team. Just as objectively, yes, I do have belief in Trevor Story bouncing back, and I need that to happen because I have a lot of him. I have a lot of Trevor Story. He does not need to be what he was in Colorado to pay off that price. That's the thing. Like, he doesn't need to be like a 30-30 dude. But if we can get 20 home runs, 20 steals, or like a 25 and 20 situation, he feels like a smash at that ADP. All right, JMC, before you leave, roast my team. Or not, if you like it. Pick from the 9-hole. Finish with a 6-7-7 build. The pitching staff is Gallen, Snell, Yuri Perez, Tanner Bibby, Christian Javier, and Nick Lodolo. The infield is Bryce Harper, Bo Bichette, Vinny P, Isak Paredes, Nolan Gorman, Ryan McMahon, Brandon Lau. And the outfield is Tatis Jones, Nolan Jones, Evan Carter, Riley Green, Wyatt Langford, James Outman, and Nelson Velasquez. Your retort of going 7-7-6, probably correct. Yeah, I probably should have done that, especially with the innings limit question with Perez and the injury, issues with Lodolo. I probably should have gone 7-7-6. In my head, I had too many concerns about playing time issues with these Texas guys. They're like too big of question marks. And I didn't want that to sink this team. So maybe that was just a little bit of fear-based drafting on my part. I'll probably look back like after the season starts and be like, yeah, this should have been a 7-7-6. But I think it's constructed well. I don't feel like one position is a severe liability. The pitching is a question mark for sure, but the infield's going to be fine. And the outfield, unless I'm completely wrong on these Texas guys, I think that's going to struggle. Also love Tatis, but try to get at least one more SD guy. No issues with the guys you took with the draft capital. Yeah, there's not many stacking partners for San Diego that I care about. It's pretty much just Machado. I'm not paying the price for Ha-Seong Kim right now. I can't bring myself to do it. So San Diego is a very, very difficult team for me to stack because I just don't really like the stacking partners outside of Machado. And Machado is too cheap. I like his ADP right now. I like his cost. But save for doing like a weird Cronin road thing. Oh, I keep forgetting about Xander. That's right. I forget about Xander Bogaerts. He's kind of one of those, like, talk about, like, you hear people say oatmeal guys that just kind of like boring but like get the job done type of guys. I feel like Xander is a guy who doesn't really have much ceiling, but his floor is really, really solid. So I don't know if I've drafted Xander a single time this year. He's probably a guy I do need to focus a little bit more on, especially if I start with Tatis. I mean, you saw it. Tatis is my highest owned first round pick in this contest. So I probably need to start stacking him up a little bit more with Manny and Xander. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this evening. James, I really, really appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. You could have done anything tonight, and you chose to come hang out here and draft me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the interaction. That was a lot of fun, and you're a huge reason why that was so much fun. So thank you. Anybody who's checking this out live or after the fact, hopefully you got something out of this. If nothing else, just a little bit of enjoyment, maybe a couple chuckles, hopefully. If you could, on your way out, drop a like. If you liked it, if you don't drop a like, but hopefully you liked it. Leave a like, subscribe, follow me on X. I'm saying X now instead of Twitter. So Woo Woo J Train is the tag there. It's spelled exactly like it sounds. Woo Woo J Train. And that's where I, send out when I'm going live and stuff like that, interact with the community, the best ball community. So, hashtag Chapman squad. Yeah, always Chapman. Dude, I'm going to have, if he doesn't sign for another 2 weeks, I might be at like 45%. with him by the time he signs. And I feel just perfectly fine with that, honestly. So thank you again for stopping by. Anybody watching this, thank you for checking it out. I appreciate it. We'll probably do another one of these early to mid next week. Usually 7 p.m. Central Time is my start time. But I hope you all had a good time. Hope you'll be back. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you on the next one. Okay? Take care.